During the war, the aircraft was actually later built in America, and about 150 SE-5s were actually exported from the UK to the United States Army Air Service. And both the Junkers trench strafers now seem to have an SE apiece on their tails, and a little bit of weaving going on trying to break that. You can see the streamers on one of the Junkers there as it breaks away past the control tower, leaving a little bit of smoke. Streamers were important because aircraft didn't have radios, and if you were flying it with on the other, both with a Fokker DR-1 on their tail. Ironically, no original Fokker DR-1s survived. The last survivor was actually destroyed by Allied bombing of the German Technical Museum in Berlin in 1944. Commemorate the pilots who went to war 100 years ago.
Farnborough's fields, the bodies run,
Ladies and gentlemen, the great war display team. Thank you.
Else to stand up, but most people have not the light. How about that? Take off, but watch this next maneuver. It's not the sort of manoeuvre you do with Granny down the back with a gin and tonic in her hands. She's slaying. What a fantastic to be so close to that large aircraft on takeoff. That's something unique of the theatre that we have here at Farnborough. Engineering project began in June 1994, the time referred to as 3XX. Official go-ahead was in December 99, when an order for the 50th aircraft came in December the next year. The industry launch was confirmed. The maiden flight of the A380 occurred in January 2005, lasting some 3 hours and 54 minutes. It was the start of a test program incorporating some 2,200 flying hours. It lasted some 15 months. Rolls-Royce engines on this Rolls-Royce Trent 900 was accepted. Back into something else for the context. The Trent 900 draws in enough air to inflate 72,000 party balloons in 1 second. The success of the A380 can be seen in January this year. Orders stood at over 300 orders, 304 to be exact, with 122 of these aircraft types already delivered. The vertical oval design of the aircraft allows 10 abreast seating in the lower cabin, 8 abreast in the upper deck, whilst the typical 3-class configuration for the 380-800 seats over 500 passengers. It could, in high-density seating, get 853 passengers. Flight management system from Honeywell towers provide display. It's optional for a head-up display. Huge wingspan, 79.8 metres, the height and length of the aircraft at 24.1 metres and 72.8 respectively. The Stretch 900 series is under consideration. Larger aircraft will represent a 10-frame stretch with seat 656 people in a 3-cask layout, but in high-density configuration, up to 990 people could be carried. It is a terrific site over here at Farnborough, this historic site, the birthplace of British aviation. Cody first flew from down on the far right. Indeed, faster here with facilities, so you can go and talk to the museum. And there's a monument to Cody now outside the fast area as the A380 positions to slowly fly past. And this again is an extraordinary sight. This majestic flypast of this huge airliner. and still relatively quiet. It's almost unbelievable, I think, isn't it? This large aircraft drifting past. Time to come on soon, time away to steep climb to the downward position. Offer the A380 as a private aircraft, VIP fit, not something that I suspect many of us here would go out and buy, but it's available, pulling up, steep climb at the top, pushing forward, extending the gear to come around to land. He knows that the A400 is sitting patiently at the beginning of the runway. Extraordinary sight, isn't it? Beautiful sight, this very moment, 346 is connected via data link to the ground demonstrator device, the Eurofighter flight simulator, to demonstrate the live virtual constructive capability. Full authority, quadruplex, carefree flying, fly-by-wire control system allows the aircraft to remain fully controllable at more than 30 degrees angle of attack throughout a wide range of airspeeds from less than 100 up to 1.2 Mach. Etc., etc. Makes it a very modern pre-operational tactical training aircraft, like the aircraft that the pilot will go on to be flying next, the Eurofighter Typhoon. 345. The aircraft you brought before you go on to 346, stress plus 7G minus 3.5. Now after all of that noise and all that speed and all that grunt, drifting past, there's a high alpha, high angle of attack, slow speed pass. Spoilers were kicked in at the left-hand end of the display line shortly. Again, that's a slight and a half. Some aircraft items. That's what we use today.
Right, yeah, okay.
Reese, local bloke, grew up down in the south coast, Southampton, went to Portsmouth Grammar School. Eurofighter Typhoon touching down. Briefing, morning, she was boarded.
Exciting for aviation.
Oh, well, fantastic. My congratulations to everybody in that Schools Build a Plane Challenge. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you want to get your school involved, go online, talk to the Royal Aeronautical Society, or get hold of the LAA, the Light Aircraft Association. They can point you in the right direction. And never know, we might get a whole squadron of these aircraft in Farnborough 2016. And now, again, for something completely different. Because out on the runway is the Harrier. Yeah, I know that made you move, didn't it? This is going to be noisy. This actually is an AV-8B Harrier 2. Most modern version of the V-Style classic aircraft that we've seen for many years here at Farnborough. To have a Harrier back is fantastic. It will be noisy. We're doing short takeoff landing demonstration. Don't do vertical landings at the moment here. Keep the runway nice and neat for the tag operation after the show. Rolls-Royce supplying the car, the Pegasus engine, supporting. This is operated by the Spanish Navy, and very welcome to Farnborough you are. This is the first time we've seen it flying this week. Participating in Harrier on Saturday and Sunday as well. Fast run from the left. We're seeing a demonstration of fast passes, slow flight. We'll be doing some hovering and some pedal turns in the display. Of course, the whole programme started way back in October 1960, the P1127. Positioning now for a high performance turn. This is slowly reducing the speed, coming around that high G turn, that washer speed both off. So I think slowing down way over the left plane end. Whistle over the here being extended, partially on jet-borne engine-driven flight at the moment and wing-borne. It's a transition between, you'll see the exhaust plumes coming down when he comes to do some hovering in front of us, and you'll see how they move around just to keep the Harrier stationary when he does any of that, and then transitioning left and right, back and about. From the south of Spain, and Rotar, province of Cadiz. He's operating from HMS Illustrious. Reconnaissance, air interdiction, strike coordination, armed response, close air support, flying forces. You can see the downdrafts. This is very much wing-borne as an engine-borne flight.
Incredibly impressive, is it not? And that was so beautifully controlled, just hanging there, just sitting there. You don't really tire of seeing that.
Ski jumps on Wales here at Farnborough many years ago. That was fun. Went off that. Going back to stunt medal. BBC filmed the wrong person. But there we go. It's wonderful to see English heritage maintained. Lovely sounding area. Much of the training was carried out in Australia, Canada and South Africa. Anson's continued in service with Air Forces for many years after the end of the Second World War. RAF still keeping aircraft in Anson until June 1968. Found many other roles in city use, test beds, top speed, around about 600 miles, around 55 miles an hour. Those engines, Armstrong Sidney engines, they're the Cheetah 15 engine in there. Vast number of operators, eventually of the Anson, Afghanistan, Argentina, Australia, Kingdom of Bahrain, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Cuba, Czechoslovakia, Egypt, Estonia, Ethiopia, Finland, France, Greece, India, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Netherlands. We're not there yet. The end of the alphabet. Test beds. Others helped set up airlines, notably Gulf Air Aviation Company, established in the late 1940s by former RAF pilot Freddie Bosworth. It began an air taxi service from Bahrain to Dhahran using an Anson. And of course that's the beginning of the birth of Gulf Air, which is still in existence today.
Interestingly, Strap, this was the first RAF local monoplane to have a retractable undercarriage, and obviously that caused one or two crews to completely forget they needed to drop it in order to land. But it must have been a horrendous experience getting the landing gear down, because it took 160 cranks to get it to lock out.
They didn't forget this time. Now, if you want to get outside, look out for the next aircraft. Sitting there doing not a lot of calculating. The Stardust should be coming back in shortly. Looking on the big screen, you can see how immaculate this aircraft is. Arrow 19. So the Starduster now coming in to display. I can't see it from the box, but the TV cameras will probably pick up for a bit. Deep they do as it pulls up to a stall turn, which has center access of the cockpit coming back down towards us. Aerobatic wise, the A axis is left to right, the B axis is away and towards you, and you're going to get a very pretty polished display. Lovely aircraft, of course, against the great blue sky. You'll
section set 640 and the rear section set 640. The idea now is that they will join up as a 9-chip as quickly as possible. Reds 1, 2 and 3 release their brakes. 1 second later Reds 4 and 5 and 2.5 seconds behind them Reds 6, 7, 8 and 9. Give them a big wave as they run past you on the runway. Joined Red 1, 2 and 3 and Red 6 will call for Red 1 to turn. They'll enter a left hand turn as that back 4 then comes left also to form diamond. So they'll go position the aircraft ready to start the display. The pilots will trim the jets, they'll prime the smoke systems, ready to run in just a few minutes' time. Well, 2014 is a huge year for the Red Arrows. It is in fact our 50th display season. And in 50 display seasons, the team have performed over 4,500 public displays. The Royal Air Force. The Royal Air Force purpose today is twofold. It's to protect the nation and its interests 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Does that by delivering combat air with its fast jet fleet, or with our newly updated air mobility fleet, which supports ongoing operations and can deliver humanitarian aid across the globe. It's 20 feet apart. These are big round of applause now, ladies and gentlemen. Here they are, the Royal Air Force aerobatic team, the Red Arrows. Pulling up at 4G, Red 1 now calls them into short diamond formation where you'll see the aircraft collapse to around 6 to 8 feet away from each other. They reach 6,000 feet or a mile above us at the top of this loop. Red 1 at the front there is squadron leader Jim Turner. It's his third and final year as the team's leader. He is a former Jaguar pilot by trade, but he's very experienced in the display world, having displayed the Jaguar. Spent 3 years previously with the Red Arrows, including leading the synchro pair. But recently he has spent 3 years as the official advisor to the Royal Saudi Air Force's display team. Reds 2 and 3 acknowledge the move to Eagle. They do so with very metronomic cadence in their voices. The idea is that as they count 4 in their heads, the pilots extend their air brakes. And on 6, all the pilots retract their air brakes, which enables all 3 jets on each wing to drop back in unison to form Eagle. As the jets go upside down, boys and girls, let's give the pilots a big wave. When the Red Arrows first started flying their displays in 1965, the aircraft they used was the Holland Nat. That was the aircraft used by the Yellow Jets team I mentioned earlier. It was the advanced jet trainer in the Royal Air Force at that time. But in 1976, the Hawker Siddeley Hawk entered service, and in 1980, the Red Arrows started using the Hawk, which is the aircraft we still use today. It's now a product of BAE Systems. It's a very successful export, having been sold to over 19 countries across the world, and it still continues to impress in its guise as the advanced jet trainer. The smoke goes off to our front. Reds 4 and 5 have moved forward to now form the shape of the Russian fighter jets, the Su-27. Coming in from the front left, the NATO code word for the Su-27 is flanker. Or 300 feet to enable them to keep the formation as wide as they manoeuvre around the sky. The outside pilots really have to anticipate their control inputs, and they do that by using the cadence that Red 1 has in his voice commands. But now in from the left, we're going to have some really patriotic red, white and blue, and if you can please, a huge round of applause as they show you Phoenix. Red 1's voice. Well, we fly our formations with the odd-numbered pilots on the left-hand side, the even-numbered pilots fly on the right-hand side. And in their 3-year tour with the team, the pilots will generally start at the front, near the leader, and as their proficiency improves, they move further back. With the loop, 400 miles an hour, they put up at 4G, you'll see the formation change again. This is the apex to the top here, they'll be about 6,000 feet. The jets will have slowed down to about 150 miles an hour, which means the G has backed off to about 1G. As they go over the top, they start coming down the other side, we start accelerating back up to 400 miles an hour. The G's building up to around 4G. They're now in a shape called feathered arrow. That's a mouthful to say, so we call it Fred. Reds 1 to 5, 8 and 9, pull up in Y Phoenix. Keep your eyes on the blue smoke synchro pair beneath. This is the palm split. With his smoke changing from blue to white on the left-hand side is Red 6. He's the leader of my Red 9. These 4 aircraft are now closing at 850 miles an hour. Cameras ready for the amazing Jippo Pass. Synchro pair leave their smoke on. They're turning away from us now at 6G, or 6 times the force of gravity. That means everything in their bodies weighs 6 times more than normal. Those pilots work hard to counter those G-forces as they roll out towards us for the cyclone. Synchro pairs slingshot out to the front. You need to look to your left for Enid. Look down to form an inverted V shape. Look to the right. There's a lone jet and it's Red 9, who's now going to fly the Goose. Instructor and display pilot, in fact, and operationally, he flew the Typhoon. You saw it display earlier, the Royal Air Force's new multi-role combat aircraft. The aircraft reach a height of just under 7,000 feet. They put their white smoke on as they get ready to draw a heart. Now keep your eyes to the top left of the heart for another jet as we add a final touch. Coming in from the top left with the smoke on is Red 8. Flight Lieutenant Martin Purty's third and final year with the team, and former Hawk instructor, Hawk display pilot and Harrier pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, Synchro and Red 8 with their heart and spear. Left and right again for the Synchro pair. They're descending to their display height of 100 feet and they're going to perform the opposition barrel roll. You'll see Enid are being joined by red formation. Pulling up at 4G in that Vixen formation. They're now twisting this loop towards us through 90 degrees in a quarter clover. Now get your cameras ready. This is the vertical break. Left and right again now for the Synchro pair. This time red 6G turns. Get ready now for the carousel. Each of these three crosses, the pilots will swap their smoke colours using the individual colour control buttons on the aircraft's control column. Now take your eyes over to the right 45 degrees. In Leaders Benefit formation, straight above the Flight Safety International building, they are drawing a red, white and blue snake-like shape of smoke in the sky as they fly the Python. Of that Leaders Benefit formation is Red 4. He's Flight Lieutenant Ollie Barn. He's a second-year pilot with the team. Ollie is a former Tornado GR4 pilot, but he has spent a tour as a Hawk flying instructor. That the aircraft will be safe to land, and all of the systems will be functioning correctly. Really isn't our luck with bird strikes the last couple of weeks. We were performing at the Waddington Air Show a week last Saturday and we had a bird strike there, and then while we were performing our practice and validation here for the Farnborough Air Show last week, Red 7 hit a bird as he flew over the trees to our left, and that aircraft is still here being repaired, so it's not been our luck. We'll keep you updated, but as you can see out to the front, that is Red 9 performing a visual inspection on a Red 8 aircraft. The spare aircraft. It looks as though that's the visual inspection complete. Red 9 is peeling away. You can see the other 7 jets over to our left. Red one's just put his smoke on. The smoke, in fact, is a good time to talk about. The smoke is produced by injecting regular diesel fuel into the aircraft's 400-degree engine exhaust. That makes it vaporise. That diesel fuel vaporises at those temperatures. To get white smoke, it's pure diesel. To get the red and blue, we simply add a dye to it. And each aircraft can carry 5 minutes of white smoke and a minute each of red and blue. An especially modified container beneath each of the aircraft's fuselage.
Et on a vu les 3 membres d'équipage partir pour voir.
Big red 8 away into the class. So a phone call from our engineering officer, obviously wondering what's going on over the other side of the airfield where you can see our spare jet. No doubt that spare jet will be used tomorrow for our displays as they assess. To see is that the aircraft will have their air brakes extended. The air brake essentially is a panel that hangs down at the back of the jet, and we put that out to create drag, and that slows the aircraft down. The secondary effect of having the air brake out is that you need a much higher power setting, and then that in turn gives us a very deep colour in our red and blue smoke. So they'll have their air brakes out, and then that high power setting, as I just explained about the smoke, it's caused by vaporising diesel. The higher the power setting, the hotter the engine, and therefore the deeper the red and blue colour in the smoke. So you'll see the jets with those panels, or air brakes hanging down at the back. They're coming in from the left. So when they arrived for the display, they were in big battle, that big V shape. When we do it with 8 aircraft, we put one of the aircraft directly behind the leader in line of stern, or in the stem as we call it. So this one with 8 jets is known as pyramid. Well, they're not going to hear that, it's not very good radio. In from the left, ladies and gentlemen, the white smoke comes on in pyramid formation. Please get your vocal cords warmed up. In from the left, the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, the Red Arrows. Brake to land on runway 24. There's his bit of smoke. But what I did last weekend, ladies and gentlemen, I had a competition as I called their names out of their tactic parts. I got a big cheer. We saw which pilot was the favourite. There's red one, squad immediately. Turner. Coming past the crowd now is red 2, one of our first year pilots, Flight Lieutenant Stu Campbell. Next up, red 3, Flight Lieutenant Joe Hurston. Also from the little smoke down, coming past us now, Flight Lieutenant Ollie Parr. Just touching down now on the left-hand side as an odd-numbered pilot is red 5, Flight Lieutenant Steve Morris. Touching down now is red 6, leader of the synchro pair, Flight Lieutenant James McMillan. And in his backseat this afternoon is our senior commander, the Commandant of the Royal Air Force's Central Flying School, Captain Jamie Hunter. Touching down now, Red 7, Flight Lieutenant Mark Lawson. The unfair not to mention Red 8, Flight Lieutenant Martin Pert, who landed early with that bird strike. And last but by no means least, Red 9, Flight Lieutenant Mike Child. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry we had to stop the display early. I had to get that aircraft on the ground and we need to give him room to get in, so we had to stop the display. But it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very, very much for watching